to, thank you, to have our speaker coming to us from Kauai, and Reverend Jasmine was our Reverend back in the early 2000s. And you know, you might think that once you make it to Reverend, that somehow your life just goes smoothly and everything just flows. And yeah, that isn't true. As you just heard with Reverend Joan dealing with her challenges, the Reverends all have their challenges just like we do. And so it makes it super important to have tools to deal with it. So Reverend Jasmine is going to talk about gathering your tools and calling them into service. And if any of you out there right now aren't needing your tools, especially, I call that bonus points. And pretty soon it's gonna, and you're gonna need those tools. So please welcome Reverend Jasmine Schaeffer.
Hi, am I unmuted? Good?
Yes.
All right.
Good.
Good morning, everybody. So Einstein's theory of relativity pointed out that events are perceived at different angles, levels, and perspectives. So the truth of the event is relative to the perceiver. In simple language, that means that everything we see is a reflection of our truth. And I talk often when I speak about how truth, in order to be truth, has to be true on all levels and in all ways. So everything else is perception. So when we call ourselves the home of truth, we're talking about metaphysical truth, something that is true on all levels and at all times. Every observation that we make is a result of our own perception. Everything in our lives is a result of our own perception and our own path. We're all active participants in our journey, and we are all highly individual human beings. That said, when we are living a life, we have a tendency to think that we need to fit in certain boxes, and especially in predefined situations, daunting situations, surprising situations. We find ourselves expecting ourselves to behave in certain ways. Other people expect us to behave in certain ways. Things should happen in a certain manner. And the truth is that Einstein's theory of relativity applies here. We can best serve ourselves, each other, and the world at large if we know exactly what best serves us here, if we know how we operate, if we're fully aware and ready to know what works for us. And that actually requires effort. If I was to fly blind into a situation and say, you know, what works best for me in a crisis, I would tend to say a nice big bowl of macaroni and cheese and some ice cream. But that's not what really works best. That's what might comfort me for a moment or two, but that's not what works best. And it's interesting, I had originally written this talk for last week, and then I was ill and could not give it. But I had written this talk before something came up that actually became an aid to explaining it. When we're faced with events that are surprising and difficult, we can't always handle these events with the grace that we would hope, but we can grow our self-understanding to the point that we know what tools and what people, what meditations, angels, processes truly aid us in finding our way through those moments and not around them. Through and not around is key in finding assistance for ourselves and anyone else that we're touching. Bowls of ice cream are around, not through. Last week, after I had written this talk, my husband went into the hospital with chest pains. He had a massive heart attack 10 years ago, and fortunately was able to avoid a triple bypass with stents, a surgery that's much more common now. But at the time, we just happened to be at the LA Med Center, where medicated stents were still kind of new thought and not general practice. And we were very fortunate that he was able to receive the surgery that he did, and it shortened his recovery. So for a time, he lost a fair portion of heart function. Now his heart functions at almost 100%. But then last week, he was hospitalized with chest pains. And it brought me to my knees. I was 4,000 miles from him. He was in California. And because of health issues, I don't believe. At the same time, even emotionally on my knees, I have my toolkit. So the very first thing that I did was shower him in healing light, pour it on him, create more, pour more, build more, pour more. And then I called every prayer list I have, and there are several. And I called them all, and I got those working. And then I called my closest friends, and I got them working on it too. And then I called his brother, our children, and my two best friends, and his two best friends. But I got the healing going first. And then I called the people that I needed to sit with and have support me, because sit with and support me was very, very important too. But tops on my list was get that healing going. My best friends that comfort me are macaroni and cheese. Okay, so those are the things that are ingrained for me. Those are not necessarily the things that are best for you, because there are 75, 100 things, lots of things, different meditations that work, different ways of healing that you might know to use. There are so many things that work for different situations that you know that right now are easy for your mind to access. And at another point, when you might truly need them most, your mind can't find. So that's what I want us to take a moment for today. I want us to take a few moments and settle in. And if you use a phone to take notes, have that, or find a pen and paper and prepare for a very short meditation. So grab whatever you need to make a note and come back in about 10 seconds. And now let's just take a few deep cleansing breaths. Close your eyes and relax your mind for a moment. And pull into your consciousness a sample situation, something that doesn't make you nervous right now, but a sample situation in which you may need your angels, your meditations, your tools. And start to bring those tools into your consciousness. And then open your eyes and start writing them down. Just stream of consciousness. At least 3, hopefully at least 4 or 5. Okay, now kind of bring your attention back. Know that I can be one of your prayer contacts if you need. I'm happy to be part of that. My phone number is 808-639-2006. Anytime. If people are going to be part of a network for you, might be nice to let them know that they're going to be part of that. And think for a moment about situations that can and do come up, and start to connect with the idea of knowing when it's time to bring your toolkit into use. When we prepare ourselves for what we would do to care for ourselves and each other, We're creating order in our minds and by extension in the world. It's a gift of and to higher power connection. We say always that we are all connected, that we are all one. But it is by acknowledging that we are individuals, that we have free will, that we're not controlled by fate or karma, that we choose. It is by acknowledging that and using it for right action that we truly connect in best use and create that higher power connection to truly help heal. It is so nice to be with all of you today. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Reverend Jasmine. Let's shower Reverend Jasmine with some love and send some to Ron.